Still, this is Nas. Yo, what's happening? It's your boy Rick Ross, and right now you're listening to Odenibo FM.
You're locked into the hits. 99.1
Odenibo FM.
You put the pouch.
You get the wrong one.
No, you don't come with one like that.
Only my if you can send them on WhatsApp.
All my
So
mates
phone
know
mobile.
that
So you need to call your mind
Yes.
so that you work with plan.
So you know what to do now.
Hang on.
That's
Yeah.
okay, exactly.
BVI Channel 1. Online care for the unity of individuals. Over 100. For BVI Channel 1 and 452. Number again is 0810 420.
What are we talking about?
The same thing. Just if you don't know them, don't vote them. That's the same topic. Political sensitization on Anambra. Knowing their candidates.
A very lovely morning to you and welcome to another program live on the 99.1 FM Policy Good Governance Ministry. Coming your way this very morning is 4 minutes down the hour of 11. My name is Tony Olisa Beki, the Honorable Speaker of the Odenibo People's Parliament. And whenever we converge on this very program, we look at some political development, political moves, and at the same time, issues that relate to the political advancement of Southeast. You're welcome once again. We'll be looking at this very important topic this morning. If you do not know them, do not vote them. It has been a kind of survey of political development in Anambra State, because we know that Cuba election will be coming up on the 6th of November. Last week, we had looked into something similar last 2 weeks, where we discussed about the preparation by the people and residents of this very state. So we're going to just take it up from where we left it last week, and then the thought that if you do not know them, do not vote them, as it relates to the gubernatorial election coming up in Anambra State. You're welcome once again and be joined in this program by Chinedu Peter Asozo. It's my pleasure to welcome you, Chinedu, this morning.
Thank you, comrade, and thank you, our listeners all over the world.
Let's really look at some of the developments you have been on the media. You have been an advocate of electioneering process that everyone should get involved. But then you have this penchant, you have this inclination that the next person who's going to occupy the seat of government in Anambra State should be for the people, should stand for the people at all time, not for any hegemony, not for any group, not for any interest outside the interest of the people. Whatever the people tell him, we want this, he goes out to execute it. If people tell him, we do not want this, he goes all out to execute it. He wouldn't just try to play the Abuja politics, try to play the good ball. He's been all out to ensure that that happens in the state. But do you see the possibility or the practicability or the feasibility of such happening?
Of course, we're already seeing it happening in different states in Nigeria. All right, honestly, and what necessitates this program, I've been sure we started with anti-open grazing bill to be signed into law, and we've seen how our governors had continued to play down on this very most important aspect of our life and the responsibility of the government, which is the security of life and property. And I want to also say very categorically, because you have to understand the essence of this very program much more than the content of the program. It's very important to know why we are doing what we are doing. Okay, when we started this program, we were mobilizing for 1 million man march to end open grazing, to mandate the government to sign into law anti-open grazing bill. Then subsequently after the NSAS, we saw that people are withdrawn from protest. And we look at it from the other perspective. How do we get the people to get their aspiration through the corridors of power and achieve what they want for themselves, especially when it comes to security of lives and property? And Tony, you know and acknowledge that since these past weeks, the activities of kidnapping on the highway by those they call the Fulani herdsmen and all that have escalated. Just last week on Friday and on Saturday, it has been all over the news, talking about insurgents coming down to the borders between Nasarawa and Benue State. And the deputy governor came up to make a very strong statement about it. You know, when that news had it that the deputy governor stated categorically when they had that hint, because the person that made that revelation was Nasarawa State governor when he visited Buhari in Asoro, telling him that the intelligent information they have is that many Boko Haram insurgents are moving towards Benue State, on the borders of Benue State and Nasarawa State. And what did they do? They beefed up their security. He said something very, very important, which other people have been asking for, but these guys are already doing it. He said that they activated their security to go and checkmate that insurgent coming into their state. That is a very important point. They didn't say they activated or alerted the army or the police. Those ones can come in, but while they are on their way, they already have their own local security outfit that enforces their anti-open grazing bill. Because he said that very clearly, that the people coming in, they have a lot. It's not my statement. This is the statement of the deputy governor of Benue State, saying that these guys have a lot of herdsmen, many of them armed with AK-47, and they are crossing. Some of them are already crossing into Benue State, and based on their own anti-open grazing bill they have signed into law, they arrested and they are prosecuting some of those people who have violated their law on anti-open grazing. This is exactly what we are asking governors of the South is to do. Very simple, so that farmers can go back to farm, so that our children will not go to bed hungry because the food prices are escalating, because people no longer go to farm to cultivate. We are starving. People are already starving, and we don't want this to degenerate to the point that and when we got to that point, then is to attend OEZ. So the most important thing why we are doing what we're doing is that we want the person that will be in government that will listen when the people say this is what is our problem. In fact, he should be able to know the pulse of the people. He should be able to feel the suffering of the people and what they want, and being able to do it. But this one, you're telling the governors or the political representative, this is what we want. Do this. They will behave as if to say it is not even existing. They will try to downplay it and not even mention it. You understand? So what we are doing now is to do what we call prevention, which is better than cure. And how are we going to prevent the people who do not have our aspiration? Is first of all knowing them. That's why we are pushing this thing towards political revolution. It is not just a political process. It's a political revolution where everybody comes out like never before and say, this is whom we want. And we come out, vote, defend the vote, and make sure that the vote counts in favor of the representation of people's vote.
I want to ask you something that's important. Your group, you have been talking about People's Restoration
Movement.
That's their group. Then I want to ask you, how would your group stop vote buying? Is it possible? Because definitely that is not stopped. No matter how you preach to people not to sell their food, because hunger is everywhere. Many of them would go on to do that. But it's something that could also be backed by action. And when you have that mass movement, do you think they will ensure that foods are not sold, they are not bought, and there is no bazaar of any sort, and there is no auctioning of any kind where people do the needful, and then the political talk start to be deployed. They are being held at bay, they are being restrained, they are being impeded, they are being constrained not to do business as they have always been doing.
Okay, Tony, to be honest with you, you know how powerful Odenibo is. A lot of people are listening to Odenibo. And we've been saying this thing prior to Edo State election, and even some of our online campaign. We campaigned. You see how far Edo is from, not too far, but at least a couple of distance from Anambra State.
Okay.
And people listening there heeded to the call, the sensitization, that every means possible, people must deploy it to stop vote buying. You know what happened in that election? People came out. In fact, people who were not even participating in the electoral process, some of them who may have, because of the failure of INEC process of giving people registration and their voters card, some of them that were disfranchised came out to support the people and back the people who are voting. And they mounted vigilance to end what they call vote buying. So many of them, in fact, they were sending me videos saying, this is what we've done. This area, we caught those persons selling votes, we collected the money. You see the practical video, and it discouraged a whole lot. If you notice in the last Edo election, there was no much incident of you people saying there was vote buying or something, because even the buyer and the seller are afraid for themselves that if they try to misbehave, they will treat them anyhow. So with that mindset, when the people understand that, and again, you must understand this, that when people say, I'm not coming out because your vote doesn't count, if that vote doesn't count, these people will not spend so much money to buy it. They will not spend so much money trying to buy it. If it is the time where people will just come in, carry one printed ballot and come and stuff it in the ballot box, and they will now count it in, and it will now become a vote. No. If it were at that time, people will say, oh, our vote doesn't count. But now, INEC have beefed up. I must tell you that even PRM, I and my team, we went to INEC office to inquire of them. One, the number of voters we have in Anambra State, number of registered voters we have in Anambra State, so that we'll be able to match the level of the turnout of the people. And we're also going to engage in public sensitization so that people will come out. And also, we tested the integrity of the INEC people and found out that it is the people that even make a mess of INEC responsibility to conduct free and fair election. One, the stakeholders, the big stakeholders are the people, then followed by the politicians. They are the ones that try to stop ballot box. They are the ones that want to force electoral umpires to declare results they know they are false. So it is the responsibility of the people to raise the bar so that we will make sure that all these irregularities will be brought to the minimum. But the most important thing, if the people, just like PRM is already mobilizing, we are already mobilizing, and we have made a table of the kind of person we are looking for. It is point-based, 10-point based, that will give us 100% assurance that this person, when he goes into power, will, to a large extent, carry the aspiration of the people into government. And most importantly, sign anti-open grazing bill into law. That is what we're talking. Before the end of this program, we'll be able to relate to you those factors, those characteristics, point-based characteristics we are looking out for any candidate that says he wants to come and serve us, not come to rule us.
All right, because I would also want you to say something about the social contract you have always advocated for. In the part of the social contract that will be handed to whoever is going to be the next governor of Anambra State, with that of open or banning of anti-open, open grazing.
Ending open grazing, yeah.
Thank you so much, because I want to find out if the ban of open grazing would also be contained in that very social contract because many, someone, a politician was here with us the other time and he said that's not a priority, that's not part of the challenges of the people, there are other challenges that should be looked into. That when you talk about the issue of open grazing, that is not a kind of challenge. The way you can describe it in the southwest, the way you can describe it in the north, probably in the middle belt, I mean north central, that into these people, these things are challenges there, and that's why they're addressing it. But then, here in the southeast is not a challenge. What do you have to say about it?
Comrade, this is one litmus test to show you how empty some of the people that parade themselves are politicians. No apologies, because if you understand the direction of humanity now, you understand that agriculture is the basics. Food production, food security. Any human being that is alive eats food. And anything that threatens your food, your source of food supply, is tantamount to genocide. It is a war. You have to understand that without people being able to feed themselves adequately, there is a very big problem waiting down the line. Now, let me say this. Someone who said that anti-open grazing bill is not the priority. Living in this country, Nigeria, today, we understand that the major security challenge that is being faced in line with the insurgents of Boko Haram and the ones they call banditry, which are all the same, narrowed down to open grazing. Open grazing. People who carry AK-47 and automatic rifles, ransacking villages, destroying farmlands, killing people, raping people, kidnapping, and the rest of them. It revolves around that open grazing. Even Sultan of Sokoto called Meitiala. You know, he's the board of trustee chairman, BOT chairman of Meitiala. He called them and said that every crime happening, almost all the violent crime, insurgent, banditry, and the rest of them happening in Nigeria is associated with X-Men. He was telling, if Sultan can acknowledge that, and Igbo, my one Namu, Muniano, Anambra State, and I saying that no a priority. Maybe he's waiting when, at the point when everybody, all the villages are now running health.
Probably he may be thinking that the priorities now could be having good road network and then ensuring that there is provision of pipe and water, gratuities, pensions, and
who does all that? Who does all that without eating? Only the junior for which the most important thing in life is food. In fact, that is some of the essentials of life: food, clothing, and shelter. Now, this open grazing is threatening these very three factors of livelihood. Food production, food security is the most important aspect of every society. Like I said earlier, if there is no food security, the people, it is tantamount to genocide. It is tantamount to genocide. And I must say, if the anti-open grazing bill is not that important, tell me why other governors of other states, whom they said that is where it is ravaging. Now ask yourself why. Benue State is the food basket of Nigeria. Are we not ashamed as our land, the most fertile land in sub-Saharan Africa, if I must say so, which we are known for to be food sufficient, that we even export food items out of our homeland to other parts of Nigeria and beyond. Now, today, we are solely dependent. We are dependent on food that are brought into Igbo land today. If it's not a cause of concern, then that is a very big problem. And agriculture is one of the biggest employers of labor. And it's one of the factors that can boom an economy. In our society today, many people cannot even go to normal work. Hunger everywhere. And we're talking about security of our food supply. Now, if we say that open grazing is not that important, tell me what would be more important than open. If you're saying going to school, or when you join for wage school, or when you join for wage the road network, who is going to apply on it? Is it not human beings? Is it not when they are well fed? If you construct road and you have a hungry driver, driving on that highway. You've constructed highway of death because people will just be driving anyhow. So what we are talking about is we need this bill to be signed into law so that we guarantee the safety of our homeland and our villages too. And also we prevent the possibility of land grabbing by people who are taking over our land through open grazing.
Okay, if you're joining us at this very point, this is Good Governance Ministry sponsored by BVI Channel, and we have in the studio with us Shinedu Peter Sosa. I'm still your honorable speaker, Tony Olison Becky. Let's quickly move on. You did say something about point by point basis of how to identify who is fit enough to be the next governor of Anambra State. Can you let us know some of these points?
Very straightforward. You see, our appraiser, PRM, we have an appraisal rating of gubernatorial candidates. And number one of it, all of them 10 points. Each of them had 10 points in them. Now, number one of them is leadership quality as a public and as a private servant, or in a private or public sector. Leadership quality. We must understand your leadership quality in your engagement, whether in public sector or in private sector. You must, number two, have the capacity to attract local and international funding. Local funding, like I said in my previous presentation here on this program, I said that Ndi Igbo, we are the easiest people to govern. Only thing they need from a leader is the leader that can inspire them. They will contribute to the development of their society with their private funds. But we need a leader that we can trust, a leader that can attract the locals, the indigenous, Ndi Igbo, to contribute to the development of their society, which they're already doing, and also attract international funding, especially in the areas of agriculture, rural intervention, health, and infrastructure. Now, we need a leader that has good communication skill, somebody that will be able to inspire the masses to do the right thing, somebody that can come out and tell the people this is what is expected of them, and this is the partnership between the people and the government to achieve maximum outcome in terms of good governance. Knowledge of public policies. Though government is shaped by policy, a single policy can transform Anambra State to become an economic hub. Single policy can transform Anambra State to become a center of attraction. What kind of policies are we making? The kind of policies we see here are anti-people's policies. The policies that will only empower the people in power and subjugate the ordinary people on the street. We need the kind of policy that will make our society a sane society, a prosperous society. The kind of policies that will empower the people and not subjugate them. So we need a person that have the ability to understand public policies that will add value to the society. Number 5 is knowledge of economic and political structures of Nigeria. Knowing the economic and the political structures of Nigeria. Let me tell you, I've always told my people that we don't even need the restructuring, the so-called restructuring, to start fixing our homeland. If the governors of the Southeast are genuine, are truth to themselves, nothing stops them from coming together to find out or fashion out an economic policy that will integrate the Southeast and make it an economic hub throughout the whole Africa. Beginning with road network, railways, and other policies that will make people to look towards the Southeast. Nothing stops them from doing that. But why would they not do it? Because they have either personal interest, or they are not just ready to do that because they are stealing a lot of public funds or diverting them. Security agenda. The primary responsibility of every government is for the security of lives and property. That boils down on that open grazing, because we have seen that a lot of people could not even access their properties, their farms, and many who have tried have died or maimed, kidnapped, ransom demanded. Many people are no longer afraid to go to farms. We have seen people whom their cash crops are being harvested and fed to animals. We have seen that. So we need somebody who will understand that if you don't checkmate this, because the hanky-panky and the kid glove kind of handling of or politicizing the issue of headers, they call it headers, farmers, clashes. The politicizing of this thing is pushing Nigeria to the point at the blink of total collapse, total anarchy. We've seen that happening in the West. We've seen that happening in the North Central. Now, we are waiting until it starts happening in an escalating level in the Southeast before somebody will say it is now the priority. So, let's move further because we have the seventh one as capacity to implement program. You know, it is one thing to say you rolled out a program. Then, what capacity do you have to ensure the effectiveness and efficiency of that program?
Most times during the campaigns now, you see good initiatives, you see good manifestos.
Yes.
What do you have? Most times these things are left undone by the time the person gets into
Of
power.
course.
Because many of them would just even copy ideas, copy manifestos of good politicians. Or people. They know how to copy.
They just
things.
copy it. They can even copy from Obodo Igbo, and they just read it verbatim.
And then the most important thing is the fact that people will not ask the question how. How is an important thing, and you can't just say you will do this when you do not understand the terrain.
Exactly.
You don't understand the taxpayer's attitude. You don't understand what is being generated as internally generated revenue. You don't even understand
Exactly.
the allocation,
The population of the
You
people.
don't even understand the capacity, the potentials, and some of the things that would also propel leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know those things, but you come out to read what you've copied. That
Exactly.
You're going to do that. That in the past that have failed there, you are going to do
Do this.
So how would people now know? If a DJ na capital B, not if
Exactly. That is why we are doing what we're doing right here. And by the time people understand some of these criteria for appraising this is what we will be using, because we are going to drag them to this place. They will sit here with us, and we will ask them. We will get from them whom they are. That's why we said this program from now till November. We say if we don't know them, we will not vote them. So who are you? What is your capacity? What is your position? We want to understand these things. We are going to rate you based on what we have read out, beginning with their promoters, because Keta go support group left, right, and center, up and down. For many of them are showing Ashebi. Many of them are showing different kind of Ashebi, getting ready. Because I found that some of them will say I feel up and wanting to get their past season. They're already seeing it as Nafegazo. So, but we want to end that impunity. We want to end that because these are very few people. The political at the detriment of the future of not just them but the entire society. So let me quickly wrap it up. The eighth one is public acceptance.
Okay.
People will be interviewed on the street and randomly. We have our people across the 21 local government. We are going to check public acceptance of these people.
How people
perceive them.
and especially those who live around
We cannot just put
and
our
then-
support on anybody.
and people all over.
Exactly.
The idea that sometimes during period like this, you see good citizens of the state who live abroad on Obodo Igbo, where you can know Texas, where you can know California, where you can know maybe na Southampton, they will come back. How would you know their public perception? Because they have lived out there. So do you think your own assessment criteria?
It's very simple.
How do you assess them?
It's
You go there to assess them?
No. It's very simple.
Okay.
How do we assess the people that are in the homecomers? This is from the diaspora base to come and govern our state. What is their position in some of the issues, public issues, that what statement are they making? What impact have they made, even from abroad, to their immediate communities? What impact have you made in your church, in your society? Where you schooled secondary school, have you gone back to that place to add value to those kids there? These are the things I get you will assess some of these people. In your society, before you even left, you have a life here. We are going to assess you based on that. I got money. Now, Tony, let me tell you, Obon and Putake personal is the election in Anambra State. People should be able to go to where I live. If I had ever been a trader, people should go to where I made my trade in the market and ask questions. We have people that will do that already. So all we need is fast up top. We will take them one after the other. This is no longer business as usual. People should be able to say, and let me tell you, it will be as that apple does not fall far from the tree.
Okay.
Anywhere you go, there is high tendency that what they tell you about me in my church environment and what they tell you about me in my market environment or my community where I reside should be similar, very closely related. If it is different, a chameleon, a hypocrite, only with double face. Now, if somebody knows you as somebody you don't know what you you don't know why you you don't know baby oh we got mad at now and the justice it don't like people will know you as a person. No, we are past that level.
Nothing like each other again.
That is why we are when we tell people start organizing yourself because you are the ones that will make this assessment. So now finally, after public acceptance, we have ability to think outside the box in the areas of democratic building and medical, economy, agricultural, industrial, infrastructural, and all of those things. What is your ability? Your perception? If any Anambra needy, which section needs what? Anambra state almost some villages never access to water. The water I drink is horrible.
And even electricity.
And they could electricity
and the primary health
centers and the rest of them. You want to go? So the person that have the compassion to add this value to the society.
Beside Anambra West.
Hey,
I am alone area. Asking whether these people are still part of the state because some of them because they live in a agrarian area.
Yes.
And they go for the nature of road network. It seems to be a problem. You know, there are so many towns, even a man about my normal, a lot of these towns very micro somehow, but then at the same time they lack these basic amenities. They lack some of them have not even seen electricity, and some of them don't even know what it's like to have some of the things, basic amenities we have ever thought about. The issue of a primary health center, and then the one you also talked about is important. Even pipe of water, in my midifar, you know how sometimes swampy areas and all that. So, but then many of them have not seen these things, and they produce agricultural products. These agricultural produce, I find it difficult to transport them. And the issue of air basalo transportation, water transportation, living on Baro, living here, living these areas like Anambra East, Anambra West, and then living Orca South as well. They will tell you more about it. But all the same, these are knowing what people need, and then they have to prioritize.
Exactly.
Somebody was actually saying that if you want to be successful in a number of states as a governor, the first thing you have to do is to fix urban roads. Once you fix urban roads, which is going to take you time because these roads have been there before now with drainages, all you need to do is to fix these roads and then see how you can reconstruct some of them and then patch them. Once you do that, then if you need more if you want to many banner rural areas, and then make sure you expand electricity projects and then protect the interests of the people against any external forces. Would that make somebody to be popular?
Exactly, to make somebody, to make a sitting governor to be popular. Anambra State, about governance is it people are so good they are flying.
Okay.
But governance is far
beyond that because even in the health sector,
a lot.
It's important that many education as well. Because if you look around, there have been
capacity building,
human capital development, and there's so many things one would talk about. Let's quickly allow.
Okay, let me the last one.
Okay, the last one.
The last one, which is very important.
Okay.
Promoting our indigenous identity.
Indigenous ideas.
Yes, promoting our language, going down to our schools, inculcating the culture of self-pride as an Igbo man. No, some of the things, the values, the core values that made our homeland once the best civilized society will be inculcated in our mainstream educational system.
And then if you also talk about the issue of making sure that one thing I have ever thought about is to have a civilized society.
Exactly.
Where, all manner of thoughts and then illegal tax collect, all those things will not take effect. Where you see, we know that I have to pick you at social point, digitalize every system with the help of mobile or network providers, whereby online services are rendered to the people by reputable online businesses. Not just that, I'm also looking at a situation whereby all these Okada, because in some parts of the state, you have Okadas, and you also have shuttle boxes, you have keke, where they go to park, pick passenger, and then ensure that if they want to drop anybody, they drop the person at a bus stop designated for such, and then do it in a serene manner and live where there is orderliness, where there is peace, and then you find out people. If you don't throw away things just like that from the window, you must ensure that every
well disposed,
and then the next I don't know if
let me
such as a kind of a
society,
I don't know, atmosphere or a scenario in the state. Is there any possibility like that?
Yes, of course. That is where we are driving at, and I must tell you that our people, we can do it if we want to. All we needed is visionary leader like M.I. Opara. These are the kind of people we need to occupy public space. Now, when you talk about policy, do you know that if this state we have a policy on agriculture, many of these people you call out on the street, they will disappear if they have
that is human capital development. They have something
engaging,
something that's going to absorb them.
Incentive that they are making. How much are they giving them after this toiling on the street, risking their life, pursuing running vehicles? They may not be making up to 2,000 or 3,000 a day. And you have an agricultural...
Because the men or guys will take the money.
Of course now...
The men or guys that are doing the job for...
Of course now, they are the ones that they are... And that is why they are misbehaving. They will try to get as much... They will meet the quota for the orga, and they will now scrambling for themselves. Now, let me tell you, if that happens, so many of these boys will no longer be there. And do you know why this program, the elites, those bourgeois that want the status quo, those undins are needing from the impunity. Why they want the system to continue is because if you have agricultural program that empowers the people to be economically independent, financially independent, they will not be seeing the people they are using to commit all this.
Okay. Let's quickly allow our listeners to join us. You have to call in and then make your own thought. We're looking at, if you do not know them, do not vote them. The program we've been really anchoring, or we have been in for a long time, for some minutes, I think for about 40 minutes or thereabouts. Good Governance Ministry, sponsored by BVI. It's important to join us. We're going to call the phone numbers right away. That's it. I'm calling you again. That's it.
By BVI Channel 1, an online media for the unity of Indigo, with over 146,000 subscribers and millions of followers all over the world. Search for BVI Channel 1 on YouTube and Facebook, or call 0810-420-7522. The number again is 0810-420-7522. BVI Channel 1, Voice of Indigo, Voice of the People.
We have to take care calls at this point. Can we know if you were a keeper? Can you people HHG? Can you people arrogate in if you do not know them, do not food them. And then they can actually do also Peter says there is no more time for Ijebego. Ogi Ijebego and Nago. And what if any Ijebego? Then a man vote, a man goes in Macam. I want to vote. I'm a good Macam on your nature. When I call Lego, better say that Naga and wear action against anything they can vote buying and then vote selling. onye na-ege ego ma any electoral officer compromise you know the madam Anquia 0701 947 8850 0703 81 555 15 if I bo akara na abi geju ekpo kigwa anyị feature n'ife niile akọwagolo ebe a n'ife niile atọpụtara ebe a dịka atụmatụ n'ife niile elu ebe a dịka elumelu kigwa anyị let's see what you have to say. Good morning, you're welcome. You're welcome. Can you speak up please? Are you there? You're calling from Chile. Okay, you're figure. What kind if you want to keep?
Before we vote them, I will only be able to try to vote to the normal before as I apuga. I vote to the because of the influence of P2D. I don't want to make that mistake again. No matter the party the person belongs, I just want to vote the right person. Anambra was moving forward until these people come again and scatter Anambra. Look at everywhere in Anambra now, it's messed up. So we need that enlightenment among our people because a lot of our people I don't know how to say it, ignorant of how these governance things work. You know, if I have money, if I'm rich, I will volunteer and use my money to enlighten our people on how governance work and they are right. Yes. Hello.
All right, thank you so much for that talk. But then we wouldn't want you to single out any political party or individual. Exactly. Because we wouldn't want you to single out a political party. You said you wouldn't want to make a mistake you made at the time when you did not know anything about the governor of Anambra State then, because of the influence of his predecessor. You voted for him because of the influence the predecessor had at that time. And then you said you wouldn't want to make that mistake again, but then going out to single out somebody, how I don't know. Yeah. It's not really proper. Good morning, you're welcome. It's good to have you. You're welcome.
Okay, my brother. Now, it's what the book this morning.
Can I forget the visa?
After Mobana, it's morning. Thank you. It's what the book this morning because. After all, not to go that Yamaka is to remain here. Not to get that now. But I don't know. I know to know about that. We will go about that, my brother. But the guys, it's within Kuya. It's supposed to go. It's supposed to go vote to Hama. So that police unit is supposed to get that. One number of things. Not that I after that to vote. I shall vote. Or when I have point and when they are channel. So where else are you to vote? Yeah, that is what I have a example. Look at the number of the Canada State. Look at the time you're doing well. It's doing well. This one will follow here according to Canada's weather in the house. Then every year, it's almost on Wednesday, on the mountain. So, yeah, you don't know, I need General. The person I have for you. Canada, I will have a hotel that I cannot. He has said, our problem. Not I just put down one eye, but I just go. I just have to. They will have to tell you how. So I want to know something here. That's why that you don't look at it. So no one I tell you go to radio. I didn't put no given up on them.
Darina, good morning. You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Good morning.
Okay, about look at Darina.
Good morning, friends.
I don't want to.
I don't know what it's about. There's a lot of questions. And so I'm not supposed to do a phone. So we can have the honor that like if you stop outside the system, we are out and other than wow. If we are what not move, if we get a cocker, if we cock up, we get to move. You know, that's what I find them model. But don't want to go on and then talk move to you. Rather than I would just put the right hand. I would try to go down one half an hour on the mother. Only let the body just go. And so the open high boy and Mary, like it's for a kind of let it over.
I tell you, each word over now. A word camera. I watch the result one day. I'll tell you about the result. I said, everybody, all the about one day. And then picture. You see that like everything was around. Like our smoke, it's a never the most of smoke. Only we knew me. I don't answer the wood. I don't answer your profession. I don't answer the wood. There's some of them around there. It was a man, no one says Anambra State. So the man will do it. I'm a home to look after Robert.
Darren, thank you so much for your thoughts. Good morning. Kedokime, you're welcome. What's up, Toma? Kedokime. You're welcome. Darren, you're welcome. It's good to have you.
Daalụ so nwanne m.
Darren. Darren, Gabaniru.
Yeah. So we're ready to go. What can I ever do? If I'm entering the title for the last election, pulling unit in our mother. So I will look even in local. Local was supposed to now and shown both sides. You may to a town now. Local, one can get about it. Will make it. I'm telling you, anything that I know by the government, we will come one. No look at where we do. Yeah, we take a boat. I'm my own declaration, I'm broken. I'm so sure one would say, one of our enemies in college. Anambra, we don't want to let you family. I'm going to go to Ghana, and I may go to our photos.
Okay. Okay.
If I could do formulation, wow, it can never fall. And I can't be sure and go come at me. One time I met who was in I got no even the man, I'm the mother God on it. All is big and look at them labels, Silava Cancana, man. I'm going to look at them to go to my church.
All right. I think that we can run draw up. I am go there very well so that others will come in. If we go my car, no can vote by him. Okay. Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for got that. Maybe we'll be thinking about floating an advocacy group against vote buying. There will be a group on that. Probably gonna be maybe an advocacy against vote buying. It's something that's gonna be a volunteer force, a volunteer movement. There will be, in as much that the PRM will also ensure that, because I know that PRM has also said that they're out against vote buying. There are other groups that are also within any organization.
Exactly.
Say that amount in the Anambra State can Anambra can marry you and Anambra will nothing like vote buying, no matter what. That is a way to say change.
Yes.
The ones I'm from the airport, how about a talk? I think that them madam
yeah.
I think again, them madam again, Akwa Ibru talk, Buleba, Panos okay.
Akwanuzo Kega.
If that when people are out to ensure that if Gallo from Medical Sway
Ever the major thing, but the people they put in mass. And more when the kind of population they got away for, I see talk, political talk, blue ballot box where you are seeing hundreds of thousands or thousands of people. And they check it. Vote to go and as an agent, go vote. onye ọna na-ediri gị ịma agụ na onwe gị na ọ na-esend gị to your
Suicide mission.
suicide mission. So when we and let them know na ndị amụrụ ka anyị si kwado this
Amara ka esi kwado. And also gwara na maka ndị na-ebubu n'obi na a ga-akpọ gị agent political party ije ka ego ụdị ife a ga-eti gị ụdị ife a ga-akụ
anwakwana ya anwa
we don't preach violence remember it is our
anwa na ya anwa
this thing mana
mba a na-akụ mmadụ ịtalị kụbanye ya sensị n'ụbụrụ ọnyanwa wee ghọta that na
Kupi ajọ mmụọ.
na o so n'ife anyị na-aya
Alright.
ịghọtago.
Thank you so much. Remember, just like I keep saying, we do not preach violence. Good morning. Sorry about that. You know, when you put the radio on, where
Ọ dị ka o ji redio ya na.
Ọgbara oge pick call ya. Or if you mellow no go, maazị ko isi gbanye radio ya n'ike. Good morning. You're welcome. Kedu ka ime? You're welcome. It's good to have you. We cannot hear your network gị. Network gị. You're welcome. Adjust your position, like a network. You're welcome. You're welcome, all of you. Come on, you
ịmara isi na ogo na ọ bụrụ ọzọ na ojerigo na aka nsogbu ya adịghị na ịfụsịkwanụ nri na nke ya na
At the end, I forget it.
onye ojerigo na-adịgo kansụl na-enwego ndị egoro ego ndị ọrụ ego yaba emekọkwanụ fụrụ n'afọ nke ya
Also, again, I want to make I forget. Ebe na ije because you know. When you say it because someone about I forget. Or do we stone you? Do we stone you?
Let me tell you.
Eventually, in that side of Egypt,
Let me tell you.
because all they could do nothing like it. On your again.
Onye ọbụla mmalụ asụsụ Chinedu Peters, go and search it. We have history, we have track record. Ijekwa jụọ ndị UPP, ife mee na UPP 2017. Ọ bụrụ that na anyị na-eme OES kind of, they saw a different kind of revolutionary political activists. Not just me, my team. Very young, vibrant people who are contented with what if we don't have that level of integrity, we will not be making the kind of sacrifices and the risks we are taking. And let me tell you, dear joy about us as Chinedu Peter. That is why I say the politicians aga jukufa juju sefa kamalo de mmadụ. Just take this name, go and search anywhere.
There will be a time about things they too. About they want a good name. Imam seke
Imam potada potan chale.
But the go a Joe we send na baro na.
Obalo lugule potada.
I'm not be embarrassed so when
exactly. I check at the level of the people consciousness about going to that.
Definitely, you could get nothing like again. Ijebego.
Or not possible.
All
the people get fail and you let them come out.
All right, thank you so much. Good morning. You're welcome. It's good to have you. You're welcome. You're welcome, Chiri Chukuma.
Fire on. Nnamdi Aluso.
I don't know question Joy. If nomination in your ticket to run, my screen, like a primary election, even in a through party platform. Get easy a plan. So we're born over on the party because in the way it's a structure political system in Nigeria. Not because party impose a candidate
exactly.
on the masses.
Like this program will continue till the May election. And let me tell you what we intend doing. Any political party that contests this election in Anambra State, I wear our spies in all their primary elections. Anyone violating what we can call credible, fair, and free election in their internal primary election, we will come here and we will disown them. We will, no matter how we put it, say no one about their flag bearer as a product of this impunity happening in the political process within the hierarchy of internal politics in the political parties. Under any party we put it from irregularity, a product of irregularities in primary election, we will disown that person, we will disqualify that person in this platform because many of them will be coming here.
Remember, when you hear from INEC that it is only courts has the authority to disqualify a candidate. When you say you disqualify the person, it means that you are
we as the people.
Okay.
We as the people, we say, okay, he's free to contest too.
Okay.
All of them to get election or welcome to.
Right.
So we say we are not interested. So it will persuade the political parties in contest Anambra election to do the right thing and make sure that one guy with their flag bearer is a product of free and fair and credible election within their party.
Right, let's see if we can take the last one. We have a number of people calling. Good morning, you're welcome. It's good to have you. Make it snappy. A minute is all you have. Good morning, you're welcome. Good morning, yes, it's still morning.
Good morning to you.
You're welcome.
Very important.
Because here they put it up. More than a room, Mama, and for that, narrative is changed. My son, that's Nahaga is qualified now. When we're right, we're fine, but because that I make is the way Nigerian students were organized. What do you do? Why do you never go to the room or the whole hour? I think most of us, then I'm going to the same cost. If you don't bring it around, I have one night. Then by what time we are young with this.
Right. All right, thank you so much.
A quick response to what you just said. When we say disqualified, I after that I say, are you disqualified or not from contesting? We will disqualify the person from getting people's support.
All right, I mean, discredit the person.
That is discredit. That's the right word to use. Disqualify, not discredit. We will disown the person. Now, I know how because we are going to be very neutral. I want to promote on this platform.
Remember,
but we want to make sure that not the best emerges.
And that discredit will be in the field, not here. Because if it becomes here,
no, it's not here. By the time we assess, people will now be the ones to say. By the time we say we go to a political party and they didn't conduct what they are, it is them. They will be the ones to do it.
It's important that every political party should ensure it conducts
free and
credible
primaries. That's all.
Very important. Free.
Very important.
Credible primaries. Somebody wants to say backlash. Don't even take it personal.
Exactly.
Backlash.
Exactly.
Not conducting free and credible primaries.
Simple.
Don't take it too personal. Your final word before.
My final word is join this movement wherever you are. Call 0810-420-7522 or you call 080-6098-2212. Join PRN. Start one wherever you are. This is people's movement. There is no going back to it. I'm also Association Peters. You can search BVI Channel 1 online and you'll be able to follow us continuously. Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you so much for your time. Association Peters. Thank you so much everyone for listening. And then the for the political consciousness. I'll be finna rise the pharmacy My name is Tony Only Becky. I get what I'm